I am continuing my series on circles, specifically focusing on arcs, and I will introduce central angles as well. So the first thing you want to do is pay attention to the definition, actually, of what an arc is. It's basically an unbroken part of a circle that's consisting of 2 points on the circle known as endpoints, and everything that's all of the points that's within that arc. So I'm going to discuss three specific arcs. One is a semicircle, and a semicircle has the endpoints that your arc is created from the endpoints that are formed from your diameter. So this is my diameter, and my arc is the outside of the circle. So it's the unbroken part of the circle. So if I were to take the circle apart, that what I just highlighted is half of a circle. So that's called a semicircle. But if I look on the opposite side, I still have another half of the circle. And what you need to know about a semicircle is the characteristic is that it is equal to 180 degrees. And that makes sense if you think about it, because I just showed you two semicircles. 180 degrees plus another 180 degrees equal the amount of the circle, which is 360 degrees. So if I were to ask you to name this semicircle, if I just said HY, well, you wouldn't know if I'm asking you to go in this direction or if I'm asking you to go in this direction. Now, in this example, it doesn't matter because you just have one diameter, but there are examples where you may have multiple angles shown. So what would be helpful is if there's a third point on your arc. And let's just go ahead and put a point here. So what should happen, and it's not always the case, is when you're naming an arc that's a semicircle, it should have three letters in it. And your endpoints are on the first and the last part of the letters. Okay. Yeah, that looks a little messy there, but okay. And if I were to ask you again, well, what's the measure of arc, and the way that you see the symbol here, that's how you identify that you're trying to find the arc. And then if you're trying to find the measure, you just put a little M there. So the measure of arc HEY, if I'm looking at it, I can see, oh, that's a semicircle. In a semicircle, so I don't have to highlight the diameter part. I'm only looking for the arc. I was just showing you what a semicircle looks like. So the arc is only the outside part. If I wanted to know the measure of that, I would write it as the measure of arc HEY equals 180 degrees. Arcs and angles are always measured in degrees. So keep up with that as well, because there will be some times where your picture becomes so convoluted and it has different information on it. You have no idea if it's an angle, arc, or a chord. So look for angles and arcs to have degree symbols. Another arc is called a minor arc. So the minor arc has the characteristic that it's less than 180 degrees. So in this instance, there's nothing given, but let's just say that I know that this entire side is 310 degrees, and what I'm looking for is just a minor arc. The minor arc is the arc that has the two, in this example, has two endpoints, M and Y, and they connect to a central angle here. But again, I'm only looking for the arc, which is the part that makes up the circle. And if I were to ask you, well, what's the measure of arc MY? This time I can use two letters because I know that if I'm trying to use all of these letters and go to MY, that's greater than 180 degrees. So I know that that's not the direction you want me to go. So if I know that the other side of the arc, let's just, if I know that this side is 310 based off of what's given in my example, and I'm trying to find my arc MY, like I said, what I can do is, since I know that the measure of the entire circle is 360 degrees, I can just subtract what I do know, which is 310 degrees. Whatever that difference is, that is my actual measure of the minor arc that I'm looking for. So the measure of arc MY, and again, it's measured in degrees, is 50 degrees. Okay, that's how that works. Major arc, it's what I just highlighted like in the last one in yellow. So the major arc in this example is going to be also, you want to use 3 letters. So it's going to be notated by 3 letters, and it is, the characteristic for this one is that it's greater than 180 degrees. So everything is based off of 180 degrees. It's either equal to 180 degrees, less than, or greater than 180 degrees. That's how you can determine whether it's minor arc, major arc, or semicircle. And also by the way that it's named. So if I ask you to find the measure of angle GO, again, you wouldn't know. Are you talking about this or are you talking about that GO? You wouldn't know. So if we are referring to major arcs and semicircles, you want to have 3 letters. So I am referring to a major arc in this picture. So GEO, and then the symbol arc. Well, what is the measure of arc GEO? Well, I would have to have some kind of information to figure that out. So let's just say that this was 60 degrees. In order to find the measure of arc GEO, I would use the exact same strategy I used in the example before. I would take the entire circle measure of 360 degrees, and I would subtract what I know. I know that arc GO is 60 degrees, so therefore what's left over has to be 300 degrees. So the measure of arc GEO is 300 degrees. That's how that works. Okay. All right, so I will come back in another video and show you some more work. Okay.